What are my thoughts on the future of WWE? What are my thoughts on the whole thing with NXT and the whole thing with the Royal Rumble? Um, you know something? I been looking through a lot of things with WWE in the past few days. You know, everything from what they've done with NXT, which is fantastic. I mean, I didn't get a chance to see the entire Takeover pay per view, but I did see what they did with it and everything, and the appearance of certain particular superstars that were going to make a huge impact in NXT, from the likes of Finn. I think I'm pronouncing this correctly. Balor, I think Finn Balor. That's his name, and Sami Zayn becoming NXT champion, which I'm very, very happy for the guy. I saw him go up against Adrian Neville, which was a very, very intense matchup. And then the big appearance of Kevin Owen, or most of you guys probably already know him as Kevin Steen from Ring of Honor. And it was great that Kevin did what he did at NXT. I mean, some people probably thought, oh, well, this is wrong. I mean, why do you have to go ahead and turn heel right away? No, this is exactly what needed to happen, because when I saw Kevin Steen on Ring of Honor, when I saw him when he was a champion over there, he was one of the worst when it came to being heel. And he was not only a great wrestler, he was also a great heel. And now he's contributing that to NXT, and he's bringing, he's turning a lot of heads and everything else like that. Some people may boo him and everything else like that, but that's common. That's the way it's supposed to go in professional wrestling. And I'm glad that Kevin Owen is doing what he's doing and stuff. And now, we get to see this from a whole different platform and everything. So now, as far as the way WWE is being structured, NXT is better than WWE. But, well, even though it's pretty much the same thing, because NXT is WWE. WWE nowadays, I mean, it's just not looking the way it should. I mean, everyone's been talking about that whole thing with Vince McMahon and Stone Cold Steve Austin when they had the podcast. And, Vince McMahon had brought up a lot of points, and, to some people, it's like, he didn't have to, some people thought that Vince McMahon was burying some of the talent, which he was not burying the talent, he was telling the truth, Like, let's see, Austin brought up a point about the roster not being challenged. And it's true. I mean, how is it that you got Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, Bray Wyatt, John Cena, and others in that particular nature looking to be big-time stars, looking to be number one in the company, and then you got guys like Big E and Kofi Kingston and Cesaro and all this talent, great talent I might add, that are not being pushed to the limits where it's supposed to be, and some of them are being pulled back by management that think they can hang. I found out I love the whole interesting deal that they talk about Cesaro. Cesaro, to me, the big mistake that they made, in my opinion, was putting Cesaro with Paul Heyman. That was the big mistake. You want to know why? Because even though it seemed good on paper and it seemed good to everyone the night after WrestleMania, when Cesaro became the new Paul Heyman guy, it seemed good, but where did his success go? After that, almost a month or two later, Cesaro's being let go and he's on his own without Paul Heyman, and he's not doing any good. He may have had some great matches with Sheamus. I think that was probably the only impressive thing he did. Everything else, Cesaro's not worth anything. And Vince McMahon's right. There needs to be that click, and that click, it's the obvious one of them all. The fact that Cesaro has this swing, and the fans are digging it so much. Why don't they go ahead and use that swing to their advantage and bring something out of Cesaro? That's what needs to happen. I think Cesaro's a great talent. I think he's one badass wrestler. But what they need to do is get him out of the goddamn heel deal and bring him into, as a baby face, a good guy. I mean, that could probably be the only thing that will save his career. And, you know, I remember that whole ridiculous thing that happened before Survivor Series took place when Cesaro became a part of Team Cena. And I thought, wow, that was a big surprise to me, you know? And then all of a sudden Cesaro goes ahead and switch over to the Authority, which, you know, I kind of knew in my mind, oh God, this is Cesaro, you screwed up, you moron. And that's pretty much what I said on the screen. You screwed up, you moron. You let them go ahead and tell you what to do and then swerve them over like that when you need to be the one to really, you know, create the biggest impact. Survivor Series was interesting when, you know, Eric Rowan, he came in and made a huge impact. And then the biggest impact of them all, Dolph Ziggler. Everyone is saying that Dolph Ziggler, you know, he's always been a huge star, always has. But yet they have not done anything to him yet. Everyone's been saying the same thing. You read this shit on Facebook, you read this shit on Twitter. Well, they're not going to put him in the main roster. They're not going to put him in the main event. You know what? This dude busted his ass for the past few days, and all anyone could talk about is Dolph Ziggler. That's all anybody could talk about. John Cena made a critical move at Survivor Series when he got laid out by the Big Show, and then he was eliminated, and the only person that was left over was Dolph Ziggler. And then, of course, Sting made the appearance, surprised the living hell out of everybody, which was cool, which was awesome. And then Dolph Ziggler's the one that ended up being the winner for Team Cena at Survivor Series. And yet everyone is still pointing on the fact that Roman Reigns is going to be the guy to win the Royal Rumble. No disrespect to Roman Reigns. I think he's the fucking shit. But I'm looking at Dolph Ziggler. Because right now, WWE really needs to focus on Dolph Ziggler, because how is it that more fans are interested in Dolph Ziggler than they are with Roman Reigns? I mean, even right now, even some people are saying that Roman Reigns is going to be the guy to win the Royal Rumble and move on to WrestleMania, but it's not clicking. They've even said it on Facebook, they've said it on Twitter, they've said it all over the place. He's not going to win the Royal Rumble. Who should win the Royal Rumble? Hello? Hello? You got Dolph Ziggler in your fucking hands. He goes on and reclaims his Intercontinental Championship over Luke Harper. And then he goes ahead and beats Seth Rollins, which is one of the hottest superstars going in WWE. You got a Daniel Bryan in your hands right now. If I were you, I'd take Dolph Ziggler. I'd put him in the spot that he's in and put him to be the guy to win the Royal Rumble and have him move on to WrestleMania to take on Brock Lesnar. And if you think about it, Brock Lesnar versus Dolph Ziggler for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, it's an awesome matchup right there. It's great. You know, everything is put together. You just got to put a great storyline, kind of like something, it kind of reminds me of Eddie Guerrero versus Brock Lesnar all over again. You make Dolph Ziggler become the #1 contender. You let him win the Royal Rumble. He goes on to WrestleMania and he takes on Brock Lesnar and wins the championship. And then Brock Lesnar is gone. And then who becomes the man? Dolph Ziggler. It's easy as that. So I'm going on record right here, right now, saying that at the 2015 Royal Rumble, anybody can pick Roman Reigns. Anybody can pick him. But I'm going with Dolph Ziggler. He's more talented, he has more charisma, he has all the tools it takes to be a champion. He's been in this business for over 7 years, and it's about time for Ziggler to be the man in this business. We've had John Cena, we've had Randy Orton, we've had Sheamus. Now it's Dolph's time. He's been a former world champion. Now it's time for Ziggler to be the man in 2015. And if you're going to stick with Roman Reigns, go ahead. I love Roman Reigns. He's a fucking shit. But he's not there yet. I can guarantee you that. Dolph Ziggler will be the man to win the Royal Rumble, and he will be the man to go on to WrestleMania to take on Brock Lesnar. And he will be the man to become the WWE World Heavyweight Champion at WrestleMania. That will be the icing of the cake right there. NXT's a fucking shit. WWE, Raw, SmackDown needs a lot of work, doesn't it? And if anybody's going to complain about Vince McMahon telling the truth, the truth hurts, don't it?